Ford Field isn't just buzzing tonight. It's vibrating like a drumbeat echoing from the city's very soul. The kind of pulse you feel in your chest before you even step inside. You know that feeling, Lions Nation, when the air feels heavy, electric, like it's carrying a secret that's about to detonate. Something is stirring in Detroit, and it's not just another off-season headline. No, this is the kind of moment that either explodes into NFL history or vanishes into the fog of what could have been. This is Lions News Fan Report, where passion bleeds Honolulu blue and silver, and I need you locked in like it's 4th and goal with the division on the line. If you believe our defense is ready to terrorize quarterbacks like never before, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and strap in, because what I'm about to tell you could change everything you think you know about this roster. Right. Now, whispers are spreading through the NFL's shadowy back channels, and those whispers have Detroit's name written all over them. This isn't smoke without fire. It's the rumble before the storm, the shiver before the lightning hits. Could this be the moment Brad Holmes decides that patience is just another word for hesitation? Could this be the move that transforms our front seven from dangerous to downright unstoppable? Or are we staring down a gamble so huge that it could either crown us champions or cripple us for years to come? The truth is, the signs have been flashing all offseason if you've been paying attention. We've locked down the secondary with the kind of cold, calculated precision that makes other G-Miz jealous. Kirby Joseph not just playing well, but leading the entire league with 9 interceptions, turning into a first-team All-Pro, and cashing in with a record-shattering $86 million contract. And then there's Brian Branch, only in his second year, 109 tackles, a Pro Bowl selection, and the kind of unshakable swagger that screams leader. Together, they're the deadliest safety duo in the NFL, and they're only getting hungrier. But here's the thing. In football, walls alone don't win wars. You need siege weapons, relentless, unstoppable, game-wrecking firepower. Sure, the headlines have been circling our backup QB problem like vultures. The nightmare scenario where Jared Goff misses time and our offense collapses under the weight of inexperience. We've seen it play out. Kyle Allen looking shaky. Hendon Hooker struggling to find rhythm. Dan Campbell cutting through the sugarcoating to admit that the depth just isn't good enough. That's why the whispers about a bargain move for Kenny Pickett make perfect sense. A former first round. Pitt buried in Cleveland's quarterback logjam. A player who could be had for a late-round draft pick and give us a fighting chance if disaster strikes. But what if Brad Holmes isn't just looking for a safety net? What if this isn't about insurance at all? What if it's about domination? Picture it, a defensive front where Aiden Hutchinson isn't the lone predator stalking quarterbacks, but one half of a nightmare-inducing tandem that forces offensive coordinators to rewrite their entire game plan before kickoff. Imagine him lined up opposite a relentless force who's made a career out of shattering protection schemes, bending the edge like it's made of paper, chasing down running backs from behind, and hitting quarterbacks so hard and fast they don't even have time to brace. You know the name I'm talking about. You've seen him humiliate top-tier offensive lines, single-handedly flip the script of a game, and command the kind of contract that could reset the entire market for his position. And here's the twist. The cracks are starting to show. In his current team's foundation, their cap space is shrinking. Other stars are lining up for paydays, and the math just doesn't work. That window, it's not wide open. It's barely cracked and closing fast. If Holmes wanted to dive through it with a once-in-a-generation statement trade, this would be the moment. The price would be brutal. Multiple first-rounders, maybe even saying goodbye to some of our brightest young talents in the next few years. It would be a gamble so audacious it would make old-school G-Miz spit out their coffee. But the payoff? It would unleash a defensive monster Detroit has never seen. And so the question hangs in the air, heavy and dangerous. In a season where the NFC is ripe for the taking, do the Lions dare to go all in right now? If you believe the Lions are finally ready to roar louder than they ever have in the history of this franchise, Slam that like button right now, and let's ride this wave of adrenaline all the way to the end. Because what we're talking about here isn't just a player, isn't just a trade, it's the kind of seismic shift that rips through the NFL and leaves the rest of the league scrambling to adjust. Imagine the moment the news breaks, phones blowing up, national media losing their minds, rivals in the NFC North suddenly rethinking their game plans overnight. 1 second, the Lions are just a contender with a strong core. The next, they're a fully armed juggernaut with the kind of defensive front that doesn't just win games. It crushes the will of anyone foolish enough to step on the field against them. We've seen it before. History tells us that great defenses rewrite narratives. Think of the 2000 Ravens, the 2013 Seahawks, the Steel Curtain of the 70s. Those weren't just football teams. They were storms that devoured entire seasons. And here in Detroit, we've been starved for that kind of identity for decades. Sure, we've had offensive fireworks. We've had Pro Bowl talent sprinkled across the roster. But when was the last time the Lions walked into a stadium and the other team's quarterback lost sleep the night before just knowing what was coming? Pairing Aiden Hutchinson's relentless motor with Micah Parsons' pure chaos off the edge isn't just adding talent, it's creating a defensive hydra. Two unstoppable forces feeding off each other's energy until the scoreboard feels like it's tilting under the weight of sacks, hits, and turnovers. And that's the part that would make Ford Field feel like a fortress again. You can already picture it 3rd and long, crowd vibrating with noise, Hutchinson on one side, Parsons on the other, and the center trying to point out blitz pickups that don't even exist because the pressure is already coming from everywhere. You force mistakes, you force turnovers, and suddenly games feel shorter because the other team doesn't even have the ball long enough to get comfortable. But of course, that kind of glory comes with a cost. Those draft picks? Gone. That future. Flexibility? Tightened. Some young stars? You can't keep them all. It's the football equivalent of putting all your chips in the middle of the table, staring your opponent in the eye, and daring them to call your bluff. And if we're being honest, that's what makes it so intoxicating, because deep down, every Lions fan knows the window is open right now. Jared Goff is in his prime, the offensive weapons are set, the secondary is elite, and the NFC isn't dominated by a single unbeatable monster. This is the kind of perfect storm that doesn't come around twice. And then there's the emotion, the thought of walking into Lambeau, into U.S. Bank Stadium, into Soldier Field, and watching those fan bases realize they can't block you. They can't stop you, and they can't win. The pride, the swagger, the fearlessness, it would change the way we see ourselves as Lions fans, and maybe even the way the whole country talks about Detroit. It's a leap, no doubt about it, and it's the kind of move that would make or break legacies in the front office. But as we stand here, on the brink of a season where everything feels possible, the real question is this: are we ready to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start making it happen ourselves? Because sometimes in football, as in life, you don't get second chances. Sometimes you see the shot, you take it, and you live with the result. And I don't know about you, but after years of being overlooked, underestimated, and written off, I'm ready for the Lions to take that shot. Swing for the fences, and make the NFL remember what happens when you wake up the pride of Detroit.